Welcome back everyone to Learning Stardew. On today's episode we're going to be going over two buildings which are used to house animals. The two buildings we're going to discuss are the barn and the coop, and in a side way, the silo. We're also going to be discussing the animals that reside within them and what products they produce. Animals are an excellent way to get money year-round, especially since they produce products in the wintertime when crops aren't growing. The first of the two buildings we're going to go over today is the barns. The barn is a building which you can purchase from Robin up in the mountains at our shops. When you purchase a building from Robin, it will take her a few days to assemble before it's ready to go on your farm. In order to build buildings on your farm, you need to have the space available. For example, in order to build a barn, you'll need a 7x4 space on your farm cleared for the building to be placed down. If you find that you've placed it and later at another time it's not the right spot, Robin will move any building on your farm, minus your house, for free, including the greenhouse once you have it completed at the community center. The barn has 3 levels to it. Initially, you'll only be able to build a basic farm via Robin, which costs 6,000 gold, 350 wood, and 150 stone. This barn allows you to have 4 animals and contains a feeding bench. The only animals that this barn can hold is cows. This barn level also comes installed with a hay hopper, which is where you'll take hay out to feed your animals when it's raining and during the wintertime. You'll need to place the hay in the feeding trough for the animals to eat it. Once you have your first barn completed, when you go to Robin, you'll notice that there's a new option under construction for buildings. That is the second level of the barn, which is called the Big Barn. The Big Barn is an upgrade that will be done. Your barn will still be accessible during this time, unlike the original construction. This barn can hold 8 animals in it. It costs 12,000 gold, 450 wood, and 200 stone to upgrade, and also allows animals to get pregnant if you have room available. The Big Barn also allows the purchasing of a new animal, goats. Once you have a big barn, you'll see that there's another option available from Robin, and that is the Deluxe Barn. The Deluxe Barn costs 25,000 gold, 550 wood, 300 stone, and allows you to purchase sheep and pigs to be placed in that barn as well. The Deluxe Barn comes with what I think is the most important upgrade, which is an auto feeder, so when your animals eat the hay when it rains or during the wintertime, you no longer have to place it in the feed trough, the barn will do that for you. Once you have your barn built, you'll need to get animals. Animals can initially be purchased from Marnie, who lives at the ranch just south of your farm. The barn animals are the cow, which costs 1,500 gold and produces milk daily. That does require you to purchase a milk pail from Marnie, however, to get the milk. The goat costs 4,000 gold and produces goat milk every other day, so if you get milk on the 1st, you'll be able to get it on the 3rd and 5th unless you miss a day. The sheep costs 8,000 gold and produces wool every 3rd or so day and requires you to purchase shears from Marnie. And the pig, which costs 16,000 gold, can find truffles when outside. Because they have to find it outside, and since animals don't go out in the winter or when it's raining, pigs don't produce anything on rainy days or during the winter. Once you have an animal, if you right-click it, you'll see a little heart above it show up, and that means that you're building a relationship with it. If you right-click it again, you'll see the heart meter. Each animal does something different depending on how many hearts it has with you. Goats and cows, for example, will produce large milk and large goat milk. Sheep will grow wool faster, so that every 3 days is once you have higher hearts with it. Pigs will simply find more truffles during the day. So it's important to build the relationship up, as large goat milk sells for much more than regular goat milk, and if you have a 5-heart pig, you can find somewhere around 2 to 3 truffles a day versus the one you get at 0 hearts. Another thing to pay attention to with animals is that when you first purchase them, they will be babies and they will need to take time before they fully mature and begin producing produce for you. Most of the maturity cycles last somewhere between 5 days to about 10 days. The other farm animal building is the coop. Just like the barn, the coop is purchased and built by Robin from her carpenter shop up in the mountains. The coop is smaller than the barn and only requires a 6x3 space to operate. The basic coop costs 4,000 gold, 300 wood, and 100 stone. It can house 4 animals, just like the basic level barn. Most things are parallel between the two of them. It comes with a hay hopper, a feeding trough, but can only house chickens. Just like the barn, it has 3 levels as well. A basic coop can be upgraded to the second level of coop, which is called a big coop, for 10,000 gold, 400 wood, and 150 stone. The big coop increases the limit of animals in your coop from 4 to 8, and also allows you to purchase ducks at Marnie's. It also comes with an incubator, which allows you to place an egg in the incubator, and after about 2 weeks, you'll get that kind of animal. For example, a duck egg will get you a duck, whereas a chicken egg will give you a baby chicken. The final upgrade of the coop is called the deluxe coop. It costs 20,000 gold, 500 wood, and 200 stone. This final upgrade increases the limit of animals in the coop to 12. It allows the purchasing of rabbits from Marnie, and adds an auto feed system just like the barn. And just like the barn, the animals that you have in your coop are purchased from Marnie. The chicken costs 800 gold and lays 1 egg daily. Ducks are purchased for 1,200 gold and produce a duck egg every other day. And the rabbit costs 8,000 gold and produces wool every 4th day. This is the exact same wool that sheep produce. And just like barn animals as well, coop animals have hearts that affect their produce as well. Chickens will lay larger eggs with higher hearts, or have a higher chance to lay large eggs if they have higher hearts with you. Ducks will sometimes give you a duck feather instead of an egg, and rabbits have a chance to give you a rabbit's foot instead of wool. In order to keep your animals happy, you'll need to keep them fed. You can either do that by putting hay in the feeding trough, which I only recommend doing during rainy days and during the winter, or you can let them outside to graze on the grass on your farm. As you can see on my farm, I built a fenced-in area to make sure my animals don't wander too far off, but I get either grass from fiber that I buy from Pierre's, or from the fiber that I farm around my house and in the mines. I have about 24 animals in this space, and typically I run out of grass monthly and I need to go refill it, but the amount of money my animals gets me far offsets the cost of purchasing new grass from Pierre's. As for hay, you can either get hay by harvesting the grass on your farm with a scythe, or by purchasing it from Marnie, but since Marnie doesn't work every day, it's safe to just have a stockpile saved up. And in order to stockpile, you need to have a silo. Silos can be built by Robin for 100 gold, 100 stone, 10 clay, and 5 copper. I personally recommend building a silo before you even build a barn or coop. That is what I do, just to make sure that you have the storage for food available. That way, if it rains on you or winter's coming up, you don't get blindsided and have unhappy animals. In addition to food, during the winter time, you'll actually need to have a heater in your barn or coop. This is a one-time item that you just place down like furniture, and it can be purchased from Marnie for about 1,000 gold. If an animal is not fed, they're locked outside and can't get back in, or they're cold because there's not a heater in their coop or barn, they won't produce any products for you and they won't be making you any money. They won't die, however. So don't panic if Marnie's not there and you're out of hay and it's winter 14 and you have no way to feed them at the moment. Your animals will be just fine until you can find a new way. They'll just be unhappy with you. I personally, because of how many animals I have during the wintertime, I actually have 3 silos built on my farm just to give me a little bit of a wiggle room just in case something happens. Like I go into winter and then it's immediately followed by thunderstorms, or if I just didn't count right and I don't have as much hay as I thought I did going into wintertime. As an early player, it'll be hard to get animals. The coop is typically the first animal building that you're going to construct just because it's cheaper. That's what I started out with personally, and animals are a great way to make money on your farm. Just like how I said you can process foods, you can also make a cheese maker. If you have a high enough crafting level, that'll turn milk into cheese, make it worth even more. If you put a truffle through an oil maker, you'll be able to produce truffle oil. Egg into an egg maker or mayonnaise maker will make mayonnaise, and it will make the product sell for even more than it would normally, but it still sells for a healthy amount if you don't process it. So don't feel like you have to. But because eggs and milk are, and wool and duck eggs are produced during the winter time, that means during the winter when you don't have the crops, you'll still be able to make money from your farm. I got to a point where with my 24 animals, I was getting about 6K a day just from my farm animals alone, given this was winter year 2. But even if you don't have 24 animals, even just a few chickens will help you bring in 2, 3, 4, 500 gold a day and just give you that little boost you need to buy you the next upgrade for whatever you're working on. Now, in addition to the animals I talked about today, there are a few Easter egg, I air quote, animals that are available for both the barn and coop. You may have seen during the video the one I have for the coop. Now, I'm not going to list them. You can Google them if you want, and we may talk about them at a later date. But today I just wanted to focus on the basics and the core of the barn and coop to get you all set up for building and housing your first animals in the game. Now, I hope you all found this video helpful, and I will see you all for the next guide.